the dark, the night ignites. A shadow game under neon lights. Step into the room, heart beats like a drum. Fate's on the edge, nowhere to run. Eyes meet the stairs, tensions in the air. Every move's a gamble, do you dare? Feel the rush, the thrill inside. No turning back, no place to hide. Hands on the table, time to choose. In this game, you win or lose. Roll the dice, take two, make your move. Chasing chances, nothing to prove. Spin the wheel,
Break the air,
break the ice.
life's a gamble.
Life's a gamble, roll the dice.
Hey Dice fans, today on Roll the Dice, we're stepping into a part of pro tennis most people never get to see, the world behind the baseline. Our guest is Nathan English, a former junior tennis player who traded the racket for a physio table and now travels the world on the ATP tour, keeping some of the best athletes on the planet upright, moving and mentally glued together. He's seen the grind up close, the injuries, the pressure, the long flights, the tight turnarounds, the moments where one decision can change a player's season. From growing up on Aussie courts to managing bodies on the global stage, Nathan's story is all about backing yourself, pivoting when the path changes, and finding a way to stay in the game he loves. So, Troy, let's roll the dice. Let's introduce Nathan.
Welcome, Nathan. We're so pleased to have you on Roll the Dice, mate, and we're really looking forward to listening to your stories about where you've come from and what you're up to at the moment, traveling the world. I know a little bit about it, obviously, with our connection, but yeah, can't wait to hear your story, mate.
Yeah, thanks. It's good to be here. This podcast has been a long time coming. It's nice to finally get the invite.
You're always on the list, mate. You're always on the list.
You're a target for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Where you coming in from today, Nathan?
Lake Cat
Eye.
Yeah. So we've been back home for 2 weeks now. We were in the States for it would have been 6 weeks. But yeah, it's nice to be back. 2 weeks here, and then I fly out again in another 2 weeks.
Okay,
Where you
we'll probably
heading to,
touch
mate,
on
in
that.
2 weeks?
Going to Geneva in Switzerland and then off to Paris.
A tough part of the world.
Yeah, it's tough. And then probably to the UK at some point, just after that, depending on how well we go in Roland Garros or the French Open.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah,
It just
Nice.
it just drops Roland Garros just like that.
Yeah,
Rolls off
100%.
rolls off his tongue.
Absolutely. And that's with Jensen Brooksby, Nath?
yeah. So I've been with Jensen. It'll actually be our 1 year anniversary in at the French Open, so that'll be
sweet.
nice. Yeah. So I think it was literally
Romance.
probably a year ago today that I got on a call with his agent, and we kind of started that link up. Started off as just a trial, just kind of fill some time. He was looking for a physio because he just split from his old one, and I was unemployed. You know, some people got talking and spoke to his agent, and then the rest is history. A year later, I'll be heading to Geneva with him in 2 weeks.
Well, we might delve into that with one of our 6 questions in Roll the Dice. Roll the Dice is brought to you by Track Intel, and the good people also at Feel Good Collective, the team at Sydney's hottest and newest and safest gym, and also Glenwern Waste Equipment. So we're going to roll the dice this week. Troy's going to lead. And so it's over to you, Troy. As usual, I haven't got the dice ready. So,
I was a bit
uh,
worried there that you're going to get me to roll the dice. I was like, hang on, we didn't prepare for this, mate.
and I'm trying to make it all legitimate every week. It's all good.
Oh,
But
oh, you're going
look, we'll
fine,
just
man.
start number 4, mate. Just get in there. Number 4, off you go.
Number 4. So, how have you built your network, Nath, in such a tight global environment that's the trust is everything, mate? So, you're new into the game, really, relatively new. How have you built your network, and yeah, how's that going, mate?
Oh, so when I was working with Max, it was all pretty fresh. It was like like it kind of more so just started working with him because we were like a long term kind of we, we used to be good mates. And some things happened last year, and I'm not the I'm not the biggest guy to go out and make conversation with whoever I need to, but with like some circumstances that happened with Max early last year, we'd already moved to the UK, kind of committed to being in Europe, and he yeah, he was handed a suspension and kind of just had to pull my finger out of my ass, I guess,
Yep.
and just figure something out. And like I said, it's not typically what I would usually do. I'm not a big talker, big networker, but I think it's just I was kind of put in a toughish position, and I just started talking to everybody, started meeting people when we were in London, going to meet the like head physios at the LTA, which is like the Lawn Tennis Association, which is the England's equivalent of Tennis Australia. Um, and then yeah, I think the community and like the physio community in the tennis world is pretty close. A lot of people know like everybody, and I was lucky enough to basically just get referred through to Jensen via one of the other physios on tour. He passed my contact details on to his agent, and then yeah, like I said, the rest is history. We're a year later.
And you've got some other clients on your books too, mate. A lot at the lower sort of tier of tennis, but still part of your network.
Yeah, for sure. So basically, that it all kind of stems down to early last year. I think at um, February we'd made me, Tam, and my little boy Rafa. We'd made the decision to move over to the UK and just see what we could do with it over there. The plan was to go over there and work with Max, and then, like I said, things happened. So there was a period from March. It was March 24, 2025, up until about April 30 last year, where I was just I was on the hunt, and the online stuff and online kind of S&C slash rehab was an area that I'd thought about going down, but it was more just like a hobby kind of side hustle sort of thing. And then that period of 6 weeks where I had no other commitments or work commitments anyway. Um, Basically, I just had to knuckle down. Started off with just messaging people, asking if they needed any S&C or any rehab online, and just through Instagram. At this point, I was lucky enough that Max was doing a lot of like promotional stuff to help me out, like reposting a lot of my posts and things. So I kind of had my name out there, which helped start it off for sure. But yeah, initially it was just going to be a couple of extra dollars on the side kind of thing. But now it's going well. Like I've got clients from Europe. I've got a lot of my clients are from the States, just like exiting college and trying to make that transition into the pro area. That's like a big area where they're relatively unknown because they haven't played the big tournaments or any massive tournaments yet consistently because they've got their college and studies and stuff to commit to. So once they kind of graduate, I guess there's some bloody good players that come out of there. And it's starting to just be more word of mouth, which is great. Um, yeah, and then I'd say that most of my clients now are actually, I'd probably say about 80% of them are in the States, which is kind of crazy, which I never would have thought ever.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
Are they are they chasing you for rehab, or what is it like? What are they actually reaching out for, and what makes them come to you, do you think?
Yeah, so there's a big hole in tennis is like, it's not like any other sport where, you can be the 300th best soccer player in the world and you're still earning like 100K a week, like you still got a bloody good contract. If you're 300 in the world in tennis, like you're pretty much still living week to week. To make a good living, you've got to be top, at least top 100, top 70 even. So that kind of area where they're transitioning out of college or they're trying to make it, but they don't have the funds to actually have a coach travel with them full time, have a physio travel with them full time, have a strength and conditioning coach travel with them full time. It makes it tough, and they're on their own. So, kind of what I do is basically I play that little role of um, number one, just like a voice on the road and like a part of their team, but also just give them some consistency throughout the year and make sure that their body is holding up and they're continuing to train the right way um, as the year progresses, because a lot of people think that they know what they're doing in the gym, but when it comes to it and you've got matches, 3, 4, 5 matches a week, no one really knows how to kind of train around that to make sure that they're not impacting their performance and things. Um, So it's a lot of communication back and forth, and like I always say to my clients is basically that it's a two-way thing. Like if I'm communicating with you and you're not communicating with me, it's not going to work out. For us to both be able to do our job the right way, and me give you the right advice and give you the right programming. Um, I need to hear from you regularly, and vice versa. If they have issues or if they have any kind of questions or anything that they need addressed, then I've got to be kind of on hand to respond to that as soon as possible.
So plenty of late nights, mate. Obviously, with some of them being overseas.
Yeah, it's actually quite funny. The time zones actually line up pretty well because, like I said, a lot of my clients are in the States. So I think that probably prime time for me is from like 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. and everybody's awake then. I think that's like early, like late afternoon, early evening. So we um we usually have a couple of hours of back and forth, just like texting and stuff, depending on kind of what's going on. Um, but yeah, it kind of just depends where we're at. Like when I was in America, there was late nights because I'd be doing my day-to-day stuff with Jensen, and then the only time that I really had available was from like 8 p.m. through to like 11 p.m. In which I just kind of have to knuckle down and get things done.
Nice.
We might lead into number five because I think it's a good follow-up question, Joy.
Straight into number five. So we've talked
Yep.
about how many players you're currently working with. This is a bit of a three-part question, Nate. So yeah, how many players are you currently working with? Are you looking to expand? And have you thought about looking at other sports, or is tennis just your focus at the moment?
Uh, I think tennis is just the sole focus. I think that's kind of the area that I've just niched down to. When I started out, like when I was working in private practice and clinics, I was dealing with rugby league, AFL, cricket, tennis, soccer, everything. And when I first started out on the online stuff, a lot of people were like, you should just branch out and just do everything. But I don't. I just had a feeling that if I'm working with Mac and some pros like Jensen, just niche down, like it's an area that there's a big gap there, and the aim is to basically kind of fill that hole for whoever's interested. So yeah, I guess that's the best decision I could have made. I think that if I was to kind of go into the every single sport, there's just so many other people and influencers online and trainers online who getting your foot in the doors is hard to compete. Whereas tennis, like I said, there's an area that remote kind of stuff. There are some very good coaches around for sure, but there's not heaps in the remote space. I mean, so that was just like just kind of jump all in and see how it goes.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah,
And so how many are you working with at the moment, mate?
I've got, I'd say 35 to 40 clients, and they range from like a whole bunch of different levels. I got some kind of weekend warriors who have the competitive nature of a pro, but they just play a couple of days a week. I've got a bunch of juniors, and I've got quite a few juniors in Australia at the moment, which is great. And then I'd say that yeah, 60 to 70% of that would probably be those guys that are kind of ranked from 250 and up, I guess. And even people just kind of looking for their first points, because a lot of the time that's some people's goal is just to get one ATP point, get a world ranking, and then if they make that, then happy days. And if they don't go any further than that, then that's kind of the goal that they've reached, which is great. Yeah.
Do you think there'll be a critical mass as far as clients for you? Is there going to be a time where what would dictate you? I'm not saying not encouraging you to turn away clients, but is there going to be a moment where you can't do that aspect of your business, and what would you do?
Yeah, I think when it comes to, because it's just me right now, and like at this stage, I haven't really thought about, getting anybody else in to help me out, and I think that that's probably the best way forward, just for because I think when people are interested in training with me, they don't want to like be kind of palmed off to, to someone else kind of deal with their programming, which is a great problem to have. And like it's an area like a year ago I never thought that I'd um, be in. Like I didn't necessarily think that I'd have people, DMing me, like asking me, what my availability is and if I have any kind of spots available. Um, at this stage, I think it is important to remember that with where I'm at and kind of juggling kind of the other side of things, which is the traveling things, there is definitely a cap as to how many I can actually work with successfully. Um, like I don't want to be what a lot of like physio clinics, for example, in Australia are like, is it's just the quantity over the quality. I want to be able to, keep doing what I'm doing and be able to almost be on hand for anybody that needs me that I work with, rather than starting to get slack, missing messages, and being delayed on kind of delivering programs. Because at the end of the day, like if you can't do that, then there's no like long term hope in kind of achieving in the area that I want.
Mm, okay. What is the area you want? Is that what is it? What is the long goal?
Still
Yeah.
pretty early. I think where I'm at right
Okay.
now, like it's kind of crazy how the last kind of 3 years since my little boy was born, it's kind of crazy how it's all panned out. Like you said initially, tennis. I grew up playing tennis, and the reason that I went to into physio was just because I didn't make it in tennis, and I love sport. And for a lot of people that like sport, physiotherapy is just or strength and conditioning is just the route to go, because it's kind of, they still keep their foot in that area. Um, so you combine those two, and I've got my dream job right now. Like that was always the goal, and I never thought that I'd be 29 and I'd be at the ultimate goal for me. So right now, I think it's just keep doing what I'm doing and keep delivering what I am with Jensen, who I'm traveling with, and the clients that I work with online. And if that continues to get bigger, fantastic. That is the goal. And yeah, I haven't thought too far beyond that, because yeah, I think I'm pretty happy with where I'm at, and we'll see what happens.
I think that leads us into question one, Troy.
Yeah, I was going to change it up a little bit because we're kind of rolling in, aren't we? Which is really good. But
Yeah,
so you
it's,
touched
it's
on a little bit.
yeah.
The moment you realised, you wanted to commit to the life on the tennis circuit, instead of a more traditional physio path. I've seen you working, for some businesses in Brisbane. So what was that moment, mate, where you just went, okay, I'm gonna take this and try and do something with it?
So it all started, I think it was 2022. And from when I played tennis, from the age of about 17 to, I'd say, like 2023, I didn't pick up a tennis racket. I just kind of lost a little bit of interest in it, and just kind of decided to pursue other areas of life and more the academic side of things. And then just out of nowhere, one day I actually went to a pro tournament in Brisbane with a mate, and opened up my Instagram account and I sent Max Purcell a DM. We hadn't spoken in, I'd say like 10 years, maybe, yeah, 10 to 12 years. Um, and yeah, I didn't think anything would come of it. Like, I just thought I'd just, shoot my shot and see what happened. And we got talking. He replied to me, kind of got talking, and um, communication was there over, like, just very kind of loose communication over the period of a year. And then he posted something on his Instagram account, and it was like, I need a physio I need an Australian physio for a couple of weeks. And I remember being at home and I actually looked at my partner and I was like, should I do it? So, and she's like, yeah, you absolutely should. But the only thing is, she was 32 weeks pregnant at the time. So I ended up going away for 3 weeks. So I came back when she was like 36 weeks pregnant. So it's definitely a bit of a roll of the dice for sure. Um, but yeah, so I shot him a DM, and he was like, yeah, basically, let's do it. At that time, I was working at a clinic in Brisbane, and they weren't too happy about it, about me leaving for 3 weeks. And at the time, I was a bit like, oh, that's pretty shit of you. Like, this is my dream job, I guess.
Yeah.
So let me do it. Looking back on it now, like, I know it's a tough position for them to be in. Like, they want, they want me to do well, but at the end of the day, the business is their babies. They've got to look out for that. We kind of came to a bit of a compromise, which was allowed me to go. So yeah, I went to Basel in Switzerland, and then to Paris, and then to Belgrade, over like a 3 or 4 week period. And that was kind of my first stint with Max. And he had his best year on tour. I think in the space of a year, he'd climbed from like high, like outside top 150 to career ranking of 40, which was great. So yeah, that was the first kind of time I dipped my toe in. And at the time, I was like, if this is just a one-off thing, then unreal. Like it's the best thing I could have ever done. And then I come home, and 4 weeks later, my little boy was born. So yeah, it was a pretty crazy couple of months, but the best couple of months for sure. And then it would have been a few months later, me and Max kept talking. We kind of developed or rekindled like a really good friendship that we used to have. Um, and he was kind of asking me to do a little bit of traveling, a little bit more traveling here and there. I, I I couldn't because the clinics that I was working at, I just started at a new clinic, sorry, and they weren't too keen on me going, which, like I said, understand that, and that was a job that was very sports oriented, and I actually really liked that, and I didn't know if the work with Max was going to be a long-term thing. Mm. So yeah, he asked me a few times, and I had to say no, and then it just kind of got to a point at the end of 2024, and I was like, all right, this is what I want to do. Let's make it work. And um, it was a pretty kind of spur of the moment decision. Like I think it was just like I came home from work one day, and Max had asked me to go to, I think it was Serbia or something. He just had surgery, and I came home and I was like, "Oh, Tam, what do you think of us moving to the UK?" Um, and she thought obviously crazy because we at that time we had a 9 month old, and I don't know, I kind of persuaded her, and she kind of liked the idea of it in the end. And then I did a couple of weeks stint at the end of 2024 with Max, and basically just committed to being his like long-term physio, in which we were going to move over to the UK because it's easy to work over there when it comes to like traveling and stuff, and especially with a 9 month or 12 month old at the time, it wouldn't have meant doing like 14, 15 hour flights.
Mm.
So we made the decision to move over to the UK. Um, and yeah, and that's kind of where it all started. And then some stuff happened with Max, and then since then, like I said, just opened a bunch of doors, which I'm so grateful for.
Um, you, we've probably rolled into question two, so we don't need to go there. We'll put it all up on the screen, make it all work magic.
It's amazing.
But can I go? Can I take you back? Like, it all seems so smooth sailing. You shooting off with Max on your first tour, but you've come from junior tennis, and you've got dreams of being a tennis pro, and now you're on the pro circuit as a physio. That's was it apart from the fact that I'm foreign countries, was it a foreign environment, or did you settle into it quite easily? Was Max holding your hand, or would you have to just find your way?
Nah, I think yeah, I think you've just got a lot of it's just like about having a poker face and just kind of pretending like you've done it all before, I guess. I remember the first tournament that I went to, you've got multiple guys in the top 10 eating breakfast a couple of tables away, um, who you'd watched on TV, and, 3 weeks ago, you'd never envisioned ever being in this position. So a lot of it initially was just kind of, yeah, just poker face and kind of got to back yourself as well. Like, even though I'm still very fresh into my career, I know that I'm good at what I do. And yeah, you just gotta back yourself and just know that this was the goal. Did it happen a little bit earlier than anticipated? 100%, but it is what it is. You know, like you're not going to throw an opportunity like that out the window.
Mm.
Um, and yeah, I think that first trip I specifically remember Max was actually hitting with Andy Murray, who obviously very, very, very good player. Um, and every single inch of me wanted to ask Andy for a photo. And you know, my parents were also like, "Oh, make sure you get a photo." I was like, "Oh, I've got to try and stay
Yeah,
professional and just,
it's
you
my
know,
job. It's my
even though
business.
yeah, exactly. Even though I look, you know, mid-20s, got to pretend like I've been in this job for 10 years
Mm.
and just yeah, just try and keep it professional."
But apart from physio, apart from doing rehab and all the strength and conditioning and the physio, away from the the tournament, away from the courts,
Mm.
where do you go? Where are you allowed to work on your client? What do you do? Where do you sit?
It's all yeah, so when it comes to like doing physio work, it's all I mean, a lot of tournaments do have like a handful of like treatment rooms and stuff and private physio rooms, but a lot of the time they're booked out throughout the day. You've got to book them like a couple of hours in advance. So it's all pretty much go back to the hotel room and you just do it in the hotel room. Like I carry a bed with me. It's Max actually bought this for me, which was nice of him. It's like it's not one of those big beds that you have to lug around. It was a custom made bed that fits into a suitcase. Um, so I just kind of chuck that in my suitcase, in half my suitcase, and then close in the other half, and happy days. And then when we get to the hotel, whip it out, and yeah, pretty much everything's just done from the hotel room. Um, and then gym wise, usually there's a decent gym on site. All the S&C stuff is typically on site.
And what about
So
what
probably
about when the game? Sorry, mate.
no,
What
you're
about when the game's on? Do you watch the game, or
Yeah,
you
of
only
course.
probably sit back
So
in the
yeah,
hotel? What goes on?
so we're all courtside. Some tournaments are different than others. Australian Open this year is you're basically on the court, which is like a pretty surreal experience. Most of the tournaments you're in like a bunch of reserve seats behind the court or to the side of the court, so it's easier to communicate with the player. But yeah, there's no way I'm watching it from home. Like I get too invested, and it's interesting the different roles that I've had to take with when I was working with Max and working with Jensen. With Max, it was always like you just shut the fuck up and don't talk and like don't show any emotion because otherwise I'm gonna lose it. Jensen likes a lot of energy and he likes kind of positive talk and kind of giving him some just pointing some things out to him that you notice and he might not notice. So yeah, it's good and um but yeah, it's all very kind of yeah, you're right next to the court, which is cool.
and obviously Nate, being a big lover of tennis, you've been to most of the majors now. You've been to Wimbledon, you've been the French, you've been the Australian. You haven't done the American yet, have you?
Haven't done the American. I don't know when I'll get to do the American. Jensen's also working with another physio for kind of be splitting the year, so that we don't have to do 52 weeks each. One of us doesn't have to do 52 weeks, so we're going to split the year. And his physio's from the States, so he's doing the US Open later on this year. So yeah, not sure when I'll be able to get tick that one off, but yeah, we'll see.
And how was the Wimbledon experience, mate?
I've been there a couple of times before, but it's a different kind of world. I think compare it to every other tournament, it's just I don't know. It's just got this kind of aura, like it's very very posh, but it's just got so much history and completely different to the French and to Roland Garros. Like there's rules that have got to be met and I remember last year for Jensen's first round match, he got in trouble for the I think it was the size of the logo on his hat was slightly too big. Oh no, sorry, it was on the underside of the hat. It was coloured, so everything has to be all white, but the underside of his hat was coloured. So he got pulled up on that, and basically he just had to get a plain white hat from the pro shop there, or like the souvenir shop, and wear that in his first round match, which is pretty funny. But Wimbledon's different. Like it's so nice. It's the atmosphere is really cool, and yeah, it's just got an aura that a lot of other tournaments don't have.
Yeah,
So
when when you know, our mate needs a break. He's just got that. Any player, they've got that sore leg or something has to happen because they need a break in the match. The physio they call on to come and help them out. Is it you who has to run on the court to help them out?
N- Nah, so every tournament they have ATP physios. So basically, if you've got your own personal physio, they've just got to kind of suffer on the sideline and try and guess as to what's going on. The ATP physios are the ones that the players go to the umpires for. The umpires call the physios to the court, and then that they do their thing, and your player is kind of in their hands, and obviously they're top quality physios as well. So um, you feel you don't feel like your player's in
live,
jeopardy at all with
live
a
recording's
poor
one
decision
take,
or
Paul.
anything.
I hope you're right. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, it's good. That's good.
Yeah,
No, look,
sorry, mate. We lost you a little bit there, Dave, with
but
the
mate, we think
connection.
the cloud will rescue you, so it's all good.
Yeah.
Don't stress.
All right,
It's the
good,
old
good,
one
good.
take. Determined to
The
do it.
joys, 100%.
We're determined to
The
do all
joys
these
of
in
one
one
take.
take. Don't you worry about it, mate. You'll
Yeah,
be good.
yeah.
Yeah,
One
yeah,
take.
Paul,
And
good.
Paul, we lost Paul with our first guest, mate. So like, yeah,
yeah,
the
No
yeah.
show
way.
must go. The show must go on. Yeah. The show
Yeah,
must
no,
go on.
it actually worked out well. They didn't need to
It
listen
did.
to me. We
No.
realised that we could do the show without me.
Yeah. No, I need you here, especially last week, mate.
Yeah.
So that probably leads us into question three, mate. So,
Yeah,
you know,
you're on it.
the reality of life on the circuit and what people don't expect. You'll see the glitz and the glamour, but mate, what's it really like behind the scenes?
I mean, there is definitely the glitz and glamour part of it. But it is a big grind. Like a lot of the time, I'm stuck at the courts for like a lot of physio days are 12-hour days. They're kind of just waiting around, and they've got to be there for the warm ups. And as soon as they get to the courts, they've got to be there for during the matches. They've also got to be there for coaching or any kind of practice sessions. They've got to help the cool down. They've got to I help, provide advice with Jensen's nutrition. Then we go back. Typically, we'll have a little period of time where we just chill out for a bit. And then the evening is more just finish the day off of treatment. And then depending on kind of what's going on, if you're in a tournament or not, a lot of the time there's like an hour and a half gym session in there as well. So they're long days, but I think you know that going in, it's not it's not like a grueling long day. At the end of the day, you get to watch tennis for half the day, and if you like tennis, then it's the dream, really. But there, when it comes to the hardest thing would be the travel. Like you just from day to day, you don't really know what's gonna happen. You lose tomorrow, you could be flying to a completely different part of the world in the space of 12, 18 hours, and you've got to pack up pretty swiftly, make arrangements, and then off you go. Yeah, a lot of it's kind of split second decisions. Like after when we were in America just recently, we're in Houston, and we'd finished the week at Houston, and we had a bunch of different possibilities to what we might do. One of them was we'd go to Dallas. The other one was we'd go to Monte Carlo. And I mean, we both me and Jensen's agent went to bed that night. We were like, we in the morning we were either going to Dallas, which is a 2 hour drive away, or we're flying to Monte Carlo in the morning. So yeah, it's pretty crazy, but you just kind of got to roll with it. And that's one thing that Tam, my partner, has been unreal about. She does a lot of travel with me with Rafa, my little boy, and 4 years ago, there's no way she'd kind of just roll with the punches and do whatever's required. But now, if I tell her we got to go, like we're out of here in the morning and we've got to go to the other side of the world, then she's like, "All right, let's pack and off we go."
Yeah, you need that support, don't you? Like, you're chasing your dream, and we've spoken about it. You just got to go for it, mate. And you know that you've got the support around you. You really need it. Everyone needs it to be successful at what they want to do, especially if it's if it's your dream.
100%, 100%. I don't think that. Well, I definitely couldn't do it. Like this year, I'm traveling 20 to 25 weeks with Jensen. Um, and if that was 20 to 25 weeks without Rafa or Tam, it wouldn't be. That's not the dream job. Um, on paper it is, but without them being around, like it's just, yeah, it's not really it. I wouldn't be happy with what I'm doing. I feel like I'm missing out on a shitload of stuff, and um, the biggest thing for me is just trying to be as good of a dad as I can be, and um, try and make that work with having the best career I can have as well. Yeah, and I mean, like the two guys that I have worked with, Jensen and Max, like they've been unreal. Like they've been more than happy for them to come along, and I'm sure there are a lot of players out there that if you said, I'm going to bring my wife and kid, and they're probably going to be like, oh, I'd rather not.
Mm.
But with Max, there was no hesitation. It was like there were multiple times where he was just like, yeah, just bring Tem and Raf, and then Jensen was the same. Like he's more than happy. We actually stayed in an Airbnb all together when we were in Palm Beach a couple of weeks ago. It was nice. It's really cool seeing Rafa kind of grow up around guys that are top 40, career highs of 30 in the world, and have won doubles Grand Slams and stuff. And obviously he has no idea right now, but he's going to look back on that in, I don't know, 15 years time. We're like, oh, that's kind of pretty unreal.
When he's the world number one, mate. When
Yeah,
he's the world number one.
we had a, I mean, he actually forced me this afternoon to play tennis with him for about 2 hours.
Gosh,
So I think, yeah, things are looking bright right now. See how we go.
bloody hell.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mhm. All right, let's get you on
Yeah.
the last one. What do you reckon? All right, this is
This is
the
Paul's
last question.
question.
This is the big one. Yeah, I'm having a go at this one.
This is Paul's.
All right, we're going to roll the dice here, mate. You're coming down to a decision right now in your life. Okay, you're going to roll the dice, and you have to choose between traveling full time on the ATP tour for the next decade, or building a high performance clinic back home. Which way you're rolling the dice and why? There's, there's no in between here.
Yeah, nah. I mean, you have to go with the traveling on tour. I think, like just it's a chaotic lifestyle, but if for my kind of personality, and I kind of love kind of moving around every couple of weeks, and at the end of the day, I think for everybody that for a lot of people that go into physio and S&C, they all want to work in pro sport, um, and working with the best players in the world. And I think that's an area that's just too hard to turn down. The only caveat would be just making sure that I can have Tem and Rafa travel with me, and have the have them with me throughout the year. But if we're looking at just on paper the option between those two, yeah, I think traveling on tour is hard to pass.
Yeah, I think that's a correct answer, mate. Yeah, look, it sounds like you've got a really good support network, and I know you do have an extended support network around you that are very proud of what you've done. And I think you've got a lot of goals to kick. There's a fair bit ahead of you as far as growth in what you're doing, and just from an outsider looking in, I think there's something there for you, and I think it's a really good story, and it's something that you know the rest of Australia, the rest of the world, we don't see this side of it. We just see what's
Mm.
flashed on the telly or flashed on small bits on streams, but this is the stuff that this is what gets you there. You're almost like a parent traveling with their child to travel ball or whatever. Like you're constantly there. You're living 12-hour days, and
Yeah,
and you don't know what you got at the end of it, but you had a good time.
yeah, exactly. Um, and I think it all kind of changed from when Rafa was born. I think we all just wanted to focus kind of shifted from financial. I was always very financially driven, and when he was born, it was just more about just making sure that we can all have a good life and have a memorable, have really good memories, especially when he's young. Um,
Amazing.
he's 2.5. He's 2.5, and he's been to 14 different countries and on 40 plus flights, which I'm not too sure like too many 2.5-year-olds can say. So that's that's a really kind of cool thing that he can say that he's done, and we can say that we've done as a family. Yeah, yeah.
That's awesome. So anyone that wants to follow Nathan, Instagram, you do a lot of posts up on Instagram, NWE _ tennis physio.
Yes, correct.
Yes. Everyone should give it a follow. Nathan put some really good stuff up there as well, not just about what he's doing with his players, but just some tips and stuff for people that want to have a look. So go and give that a follow on Instagram. That'd be fantastic.
Yeah, I had a good look
Awesome.
today. Nathan, and I shared it with the Feel Good Collective team as well. So there might be some opportunities to share notes there. But more importantly, we got told last week you've got to share to a friend, you've got to subscribe, you've got to follow, you've got to like, you've got to do all these things to help all our streams
All of
out.
us.
So
All of
yeah,
us.
so it's all
Yeah,
good.
for
TikTok,
sure.
TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. What else are we on, Paul? Apple Music, Spotify, YouTube. Roll
Yeah,
the
that'll
Dice
do.
podcast. Yeah, and
And
NWE _ tennis physio.
I think if you go to just find podcast, you'll find us. But look,
Yeah.
the word's getting out. Word's getting out. The Roll of the Dice boys have got something happening here, and
Yep.
we're certainly not sure what
Something
it is.
special.
But Nathan, mate, we appreciate you coming on. You're the exact type of guest that we're looking for. We're looking for these guys that are just in there underneath everyone else and have got just as big a story as the usual suspects. So thanks, Nathan, for coming on. Troy, thanks again this week. It's been a fantastic.
Thanks, Paul.
I really
I'll
enjoyed
wait.
this
I'll
one.
wait.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I'll wait before you
yeah.
stop. Yeah, I'll wait.
We might
No,
go. Hey,
thanks.
uh,
No, all right. Thank
Yeah,
you, guys.
thanks
yeah,
so
and then
much, Nathan.
and people enjoy this written and produced song for Roll the Dice as our outro. Have a great time, and we'll see you next week.
Whispers in the dark, the night ignites. A shadow game under neon lights. Step into the room, heart beats like a drum. dance on the edge.